Hey. Oh, hi. Okay. I guess I'm seeing everybody sort of come in, but it doesn't say that people are watching yet. So let me know you're here by leaving a comment. Hi, y'all. Good evening. Let's see who's here. Gabalina, Zoe, Ashley, Misha. Sorry if I say anyone's name wrong. Miss Ty, Mo D, Pamela Adams, Donna, Shakira, Tree CM, Gerla. Sorry if I said your name wrong, Gerla. Hey, Roslyn. Ashley Nordgren. Hey, Letitia. Yo Yo. Okay. Sorry if I did not say hey, but I'm saying hey now. And I know it's kind of late, but that's why I said I'm going to play this by ear to do the Q&A because I just knew it was not going to happen any earlier. So we're going to go ahead and get going. Thank you for coming. I'm going to do a Q&A because I've just been getting so many questions and I want to take time to spend time with y'all and answer questions that you have. Now, I did have a jot form where you could leave your question. So I'm going to go through those questions first, and then I'm going to answer them. And then after I go through like the jot form questions, I'll go through the chat and answer any questions there. So if you see me looking around, it's because I'm reading on my screen and like my camera's right here. Y'all are down here, and then I got to pull up my questions. So before we get going, how's everybody doing? Let me know if you're doing great or if you're not doing great. How have y'all been? Let me know in the comments. Great. Y'all are doing great. Okay. Yeah, I'm doing great. I am keeping on living life. I'm glad that y'all are doing great. Okay, so let's get to it. All right. I looked through these comments or these questions about like 10 questions ago, but then more came. So some of these I don't know before I answer them, but whatever. So let's see. No, I don't have a WhatsApp. Someone just said, I just graduated high school a few months ago and I'm really trying to get a job to work from home. And they're starting college in the fall. And can I give them help on how to get hired online at home? I'm sort of skimming through it. Also, can I help with the steps? Okay, so this is a really good question. And I'll come back to the screen here where I can see y'all. So, high schoolers, I get asked about, can I work from home if I'm in high school? And then also, if you're in college, can you work from home? If you're in high school, you need to be at least 18. That's what I see the minimum for most of these work from home jobs. They require you to be at least 18. Now, I did do a video on my channel last year about jobs for teens. And I'll actually pull that up and I'll see if I can like share links. It's always a million years between when I go on StreamYard, which is what I'm using to go live, and I always forget how to use it. So let's see if I can figure this one out. Okay, so I have the video and I'm gonna put the link somewhere. But basically, if you are a teenager, you're under the age of 18, you have sort of limited options. Surveys, stuff like that, I would not consider those a job. It is literally pocket money, but there's not a whole lot you can do until you're of age. So this video goes way more in depth. I give you 10 different options if you are under 18. And I have the link. Where do I put the link? I guess I'll just put it in the chat box. Jobs for teens. Okay, so I'm putting it in the chat box and show. Okay, well, you can't click on it, but if you just go to my channel, just type in jobs for teens. If you see my comment in the actual comment thingy, I think the link is clickable, but I do have a video called Jobs for Teens. So yeah, so that's for folks under 16. Now, if you are 18 and up and you are a college student, the options are a lot wider for you. And really, any of these jobs that I post that would fit with your schedule. So if you are in college, you would just want to make sure that your courses and your classes come first. Okay, you're trying to graduate. And as far as what job you could do, you would just want to make sure that the hours fit. So you won't really see any work from home jobs talk specifically to, hey, are you a college student? Apply for this job. No, you won't see that at all. You'll mostly just see them either provide the schedule and they say make it work, or you just kind of have to go down the hiring process to see what the schedule could be. I do recall U-Haul, they do mention in their job lead that they like teachers and students. That's like the one time I've ever seen any job lead ever mention students directly. Now, another option for college students is, and it has its place, are those like 1099 call centers. So I'm really not a big fan. A lot of y'all found my channel from my, series on Arise and Friends. I did that because a lot of people ask about Arise and working solutions and live ops, and there's even more out there, but those are like the three biggest ones. The good thing about those opportunities, and you can't even call them jobs legally, is you get to make your own schedule, permitting that the opportunity has hours that fit with what you're looking to do. So I would say if you're a student, that's perfect for you, because typically if you're a student, you're not worried about paying major bills. Now, everybody's different, but if you are a student, most of the time you're looking for extra money. You want to put gas in, you want to pay grocery bill, be able to go out, have spending money. Those 1099 call centers work great because you can make your own schedule and you can get paid. And if a test comes up, you don't have to worry about like, how am I going to get out of this? You can just sort of release those hours if it's not too late. And when you have tests because of your syllabus. So that's what I would say for a college student. You've got options. It just depends on what you got going on. So that answers that one. And for those who just came, I'm going through the questions that were submitted first, and then I will come to the chat and answer any questions there. So I'm going back to my list of questions here. And let's see. This was a long one. I'm just scrolling, trying to get to the top of it. Okay. Okay, this was someone's resume. All right, let's go on to the next question. All right. I think, let me actually go back because I don't think I downloaded all the questions. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I'm looking at them again. So someone said, I've been trying for a couple years now to work from home. I'm not a phone person, but I need to get my foot in somewhere. I have a background in healthcare. What am I doing wrong? Okay, so there's kind of couple things going on here. So you haven't had any success getting hired to work from home, and it's been a while, it's been a couple of years, and you're not a phone person. So it sounds like you might be looking for a non-phone job. And then you also have a healthcare background, which, there's different opportunities within the healthcare field. There's a lot of opportunities. But then you say you're trying to get your foot in somewhere. So what I would first suggest is, number one, if you have been on the job search for, and it depends when there, so to sort of backtrack here to answer this first part of the question, which is this person has been on the job search to work from home for a couple of years, and it sounds like they have not had any success. If you are someone who's been trying to get hired for a while, you have to stop. Okay, you got to stop in your tracks and you got to assess the situation, because there's something not connecting when you submit your application to these jobs. Whenever you submit your application, the goal is for it to make it past those initial bots that sort of, scan through your resume for keywords and positions and things that would help, qualify you before it ever actually gets on any hiring manager's desk. So we don't know where in the process this person, or, for just the sake of this question, this person is sort of not, continuing. But let's just assume that you are sort of making it to someone's actual physical eyes to see like your resume. Well, in that case, that would mean that you have something that's preventing you from, sort of sealing the deal to the next step, which would most likely be like a phone interview or some sort of like chat interview. A lot of times it really boils down to not being qualified, whether that is years of experience or education. Um, or maybe you are qualified, but you aren't representing that very well. It's kind of hard to say what this person's problem is. It could be a slew of those things. So you really just want to assess your situation as to what kinds of jobs am I applying to? And based off of the jobs that I'm applying to, does my resume meet those minimum qualifications? If those jobs are asking you for 5 years of experience in, let's say, medical billing, and you've only got 2 years of experience in medical billing, that definitely could be a reason why you're not moving along in that process. Minimum requirements are hard things that you have to hit. So if you aren't meeting those minimum requirements, then yeah, you're not going to move on to the next step. But if at any rate, okay, if you have been looking for a job for, I'll say 6 months, and you haven't been getting any interviews, no steps for phone calls or anything like that, then something is wrong and you want to reassess what you got going on. So going back to the other part of her question, she's not a phone person, but she wants to work in healthcare. There are a lot of opportunities within healthcare that may not require you to be on the phone heavily, but you may have to get on the phone to, like, for example, call the insurance company or to verify something. So I would say be open to at least getting on the phone a little if you want to work in healthcare, just because there's a lot of communication that has to go on. But as far as like it being a call center type healthcare job, you don't have to necessarily go with that if you want to be in healthcare. There's so many different types of healthcare opportunities. But even when you work a non-phone job, you might still have to get on the phone. Like, for example, when I was a tutor, I didn't have to get on the phone. I wasn't talking on the phone, but I did have to be on, chat like this, which isn't really the phone. But if someone, like a new student, like the advisor would be the one who sets us up with students. If there was a new student that they had, they'd give me a call and they'd talk to me and say, hey, do you want to take this student? The student has such and such going on. Can you help them? So you will, might need to get on the phone a little bit. So just think about that. And then as far as healthcare goes, since there are so many jobs within the healthcare industry, it really depends. If you don't want to be on the phone, but you want to work in healthcare because that's what you already have a background in and most likely an interest in, you would want to just do some research on different healthcare fields or fields within the healthcare industry that don't really require a whole lot of phone time. And it may mean that you have to get a certification or go to school for a little bit, but you always want to think about like what would be the benefit of this. So if you have to spend, let's say, $3,000 a semester for a healthcare certification and you might need to be in school for 4 semesters, 4 times 3, that's $12,000 that you'd be spending or, taking a loan out for. But then think about what would your income be now that you can do that field. That field might pay $50,000 or $60,000 a year. So yeah, that would definitely make sense. And to learn more about different career fields for those who are looking to switch fields, there's a website called BLS.gov. Has anyone ever heard of that website? Let me know, and I'll put the link in the chat box. But BLS.gov, that website allows you to look up different careers, and you can actually see like sort of like a overview of what kind of degree would you need to get or what kind of classes you would need to take or certifications. They even go as far to kind of give you a day in the life of that type of position. I thought it was extremely helpful when I first learned about this website, which was like way back in high school. And when I was a tutor, I tutored the SAT and the ACT. So I was working with like high school students who were on their way to college. And a lot of them, they were sort of like on the fence about, well, what kind of career do I want to do? And I would recommend them to go to this site. And you can spend a lot of time on here depending on like how many career fields you're sort of interested in. And you can learn about, what will it take or what kind of education I'll need. So I would go to this site. It's a government website. It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And they have a search box. And let's see if I can, I might share my screen, but I'm going to do like a quick little search for healthcare. Let's see, healthcare occupations. So I think I can share my screen just to give you guys what it looks like. Okay. All right. So just going here, I can't see you guys, but can you see my screen now? Let me flip back really quickly. Are you able to see my screen? Right now we should be in like a tunnel. Let me know in the chat box before I continue on. Yes, no, can you see my screen? Okay, yes. All right, thanks, Susan. So let me go back here. So basically what I did was I went to BLS.gov, and basically just for the sake of this, I typed in healthcare, and you're going to get all these different options, like search results here. And you can see like the different options, healthcare occupations that might be good to click on because they can give us maybe some general occupations. Let's see, social workers, practitioners. So let's go to healthcare occupations. So you can see like just right here, all sorts of different occupations within the healthcare industry. And there's a lot. Some would be very work from home friendly, like you don't have to see anybody. It's more like administrative type stuff. But, just giving you guys this example, I'm not going to go, all the way down this road, but you can see how they give you information about what kind of pay do these positions make, or what kind of education level would you need. So if you're someone who just absolutely hates school, but you want to make a ton of money, then you might want to look at the things that would only require like an associate's, or some sort of certificate, or even just experience. So you can see it'll tell you all of that, and they've got literally everything on here. So I just want to point that out for those of you who might be in a transitional period of your career. So I think I'm not sharing my screen anymore. Oh, wait, I still am. Okay, no, I'm not sharing my screen anymore. Okay, let's go back to the other question. So I kind of spent a lot of time on that question, but I think that question, the answer I gave could definitely help a lot of people with what they're trying to do. So let's go to the next one. So just to sum that up, if you've been in the job search for a long time, you need to figure out what it is that you're doing wrong. And I have courses all about this. So if you ever look through my description box, or even the pinned comment that I leave every single day, I've got courses that will teach you how to make a resume for remote jobs, how to make cover letters for remote jobs, how to find a remote job, because it really does take actively searching. I also have sort of like how would I describe it? Ready, Set, Remote. It's sort of like, okay, now that you are ready to start looking for jobs, here's the step-by-step, play-by-play. So day 1 through 5 each has different tasks that you're supposed to do. And basically you want to get in the right train of thought and action to successfully land the work from home job that you want. So you can repeat that over and over again, and it'll help you make sure that you are gainfully employed by the time you do land a job. So let's continue on. Next question. Someone says, I would like more information about remote work. My website, remoteworklife.co, has a lot of info. There's the mega list of jobs. I'll show that right now. Let me go to my website. So for those of you who you may have a degree, or you've got extensive experience in, another field, a lot of the jobs that I post most likely would not be a good fit for you, because either they don't really require a degree and they're not quite the level of experience that you have. Or maybe like you are retired and you just want to take your talents to the house, or you're older and you've got a lot of experience. Most of those jobs that I post on YouTube, they wouldn't really be the best fit. I try to make the jobs that I share on YouTube friendly for YouTube, which would be like jobs just about anybody can do. But I have a mega list of jobs, which is really a mega list of companies, and you can search it. So I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to show you the mega list of jobs. Okay. Okay, so this is my website, remoteworklife.co. And so, like, when you first get to the mega list of jobs, it's just got like this quick 1, 2, 3 on how to effectively use it. And when you scroll down, you will see where you can search it. So let's close this ad if I can. Sometimes, okay, there we go. So you can use a scroll bar to go left or right. But let's say, for example, you want to do marketing. So like the company names are over here, the company career website link, right there. And then you can see just sort of at a glance the main types of work from home opportunities that company offers. And then if we move the scroll bar a little bit further this way, you can see like what kind of company is it. So for the most part, I would say like this is 99% accurate. Like whether it's W-2, which would be they offer benefits, or if it's a contract position. So like, let's say, for example, you want to, and we can also look at the preset tabs at the top, you want to find jobs that are, oh, I removed those. Let's just say like marketing. It's going to update it for you. So you can see all of these companies that it presents, which is how many out of the 500 something? There's like 30, oh, there's 600 something companies on here now. My VA updates this for me, so I'm behind. So yeah, there's over 600 companies on here that will hire you to work from home, but like right now there's 39 that will hire you for marketing. So you can go through these different companies and you can just go to their link and you can see if they have something up your alley for marketing. So that's how you can use the mega list of jobs. And there's a lot of different opportunities on here. So does that make sense how to use the mega list of jobs? Let me know in the chat box. Yes, no? And I'll put the direct link in the chat box too. Okay, great. Makes sense. All right. So that person's question was they want more info about work from home. Well, between my website and my YouTube channel, and then of course my courses, which they are paid courses, you can pretty much get all the info that you need. So those are the resources that I offer. Next question. I think I need to speed it up here. Does age play a role in getting hired? Yes and no. So for some jobs, you have to be, what's a good way to put this? Let's say technology, for example. The technology field is always evolving. So it's not necessarily age, but it's like staying on top of those changes. So, if you are sort of, you got your tech degree back in the 80s, and you were working for a company for a long time or something like that, and then it's been a while since you've worked in the technology field, because you're older doesn't really matter, but more so because your education's kind of outdated, it would require you to get more like up-to-date education. But as far as like, oh, you're 60 years old, we can't hire you. If you are looking to work for a company that has and just an easy way to think of it, the companies that have like an EEO statement, that statement basically means because of labor laws and whatnot, they cannot discriminate against you legally for your age. So No, but sometimes, and it happens, just being honest, someone doing the hiring might feel like, oh, this young person out of college would be a better fit for this job because they're younger, we can work them to death, and they're going to settle for a lot less money than someone who's been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years. So legally, no, you can't do that. But does it happen? I'm sure it does. I'm not going to be the one to say it doesn't. But if you caught my talk with Christina from T Tech, I asked her this question, and she told me T Tech absolutely loves, you know, everyone in between, the person fresh out of college all the way to the retired person. And she mentioned that the person who's working from home, who's already been there, done that, and is retired now, they often turn out to be the best candidates because they have a different type of work ethic. So it really just depends. I can't speak for other companies, but legally, if they are part of, they have that EEO statement, they're not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to discriminate. So, not supposed to, but I'm sure it still happens, unfortunately. What type of work and how much does it pay? I don't really have any context there about what type of work and how much it pays, but uh, work from home is very dynamic. So, let's go back to someone who has a marketing degree, for example. Most likely, you will never see me post a job on my YouTube channel for a marketing position because not only would I be looking for someone who wants to do something very niche like work from home, which has grown a lot since, all the stuff that's happened in the world. I would even be looking at a smaller group of people who have that marketing degree and experience. So you wouldn't really hear me talk about it on my channel, but like I said, go to my mega list of jobs and you can see companies that will hire you to do marketing. Now, marketing is a very important skill when it comes to companies, and therefore the pay will warrant that. It's not uncommon for someone to walk into a marketing field and earn $50,000 right off the bat. And that's actually what I was doing for an insurance company when I first graduated from college. So I do have a background in marketing, and I do, a different version of marketing for my business now since I'm online, but I've got the traditional marketing background and I have the online, marketing background too. And, coming out of college, they definitely paid me. And I was kind of surprised because, people talk about, oh, it's so hard finding a job right out of college, but, you can. And to go back to the question, you can make a lot of money. It just depends on where you're at in your marketing experience. So that's an example of a high paying online job. But then there's also ones that will pay you $10 an hour. I try to avoid sharing those just because nobody wants to make $10 an hour. But, sometimes the opportunity is so good that I will share. And I try to be a little bit diverse with things just because everybody's looking for something different. Just because you might be looking for something that pays $20 or more per hour doesn't mean that that's what everyone's looking for. For some people, $10 an hour would be a dream come true. And especially like for the college student, which we see there's, people asking about jobs for college students. When I was in college, I made $7.25 at Sears. And if I sold a credit card, I got $2 additional, which was a big deal to me at the time. So, I don't necessarily knock the $10 per hour, but I try my best to find higher paying opportunities. So it ranges. You can make over $100,000 in a IT field or a software engineering field online. There's a lot of leeway and diversity with pay. Okay, so someone asked about success stories. Can I share success stories? People say they're hiring and I get nothing. They say thousands of remote jobs are open. Where are they? Thanks for all you do. So, as far as like success stories from my videos, I don't really go out my way to collect those because my videos aren't a paid service. So, if someone leaves me a comment and says, like, hey, I got hired, that's always really exciting. But because I'm just giving you guys this free information, it's not like I'm gonna, go out my way to try and, figure out who all is getting hired from these free videos because I really didn't do anything besides just share the video with y'all. As far as like the applying and you matching the job lead and all that stuff, y'all did that. So I can't really say that's on me. But for the people who purchase my courses, I have followed up with them, and a lot of people have gotten hired. And my courses are designed to help you with, from the root of it, which is understanding how to go about applying for jobs, finding jobs, and the right, thinking to have, all the way to like, okay, now you're hired. These are the things to think about. So there's a lot of people who have gotten hired through my courses and basically learning these necessary job skills that a lot of people just never learned. I didn't learn these things until I was in college. And a lot of that really required me to go out my way. Like they would have these like lunch and learns in the career center and sometimes in like the student center. I'd go because I wanted free food, but I'd stay for the info too. And if you didn't really have that, structure or a university or some sort of formal education, you most likely didn't get any information about how to make a resume or how to interview and skills like that. I'm getting a little congested. I'm always congested. So sorry if I sound a little bit nasally. Can't get to the apply now button fast enough. That's not a question. I don't know what that was. So someone mentioned that their office closed down when the pandemic hit last year, and they worked there for 7 years, and things have changed drastically in the work world. They're over 40 with no college degree. Most of my learning training has been, I'm not sure what they meant right there. Anyway, it says, what does someone like myself do? Because I see a lot of job postings asking for a degree or preferred, and I want to be able to get the same pay that I was getting. I have years of experience working as an admin, but not a lot of experience with all the new software that's out now. Okay. So basically, this person is older. They were working at a company for a long time. 7 years is a long time these days. Most people look for a new job after 1 or 2 years, and they don't really have the option to go back. So they're sort of trying to get their footing in this, remote world. So administrative work is plentiful, and you can definitely do that from home. And it really is about being able to locate those administrative positions. So administrative work, there's no problem finding it there. You having at least 7 years of experience would more than qualify you for the majority of positions that are in the administrative area. You would just want to make sure that you are doing your due diligence for searching for those jobs. And my course, How to Find a Remote Job, teaches you all about the different websites that I use that are reputable, how to do those searches. And the other thing too is there are companies that will hire in certain states even more limited than the leads sometimes that I will share. So like sometimes I'll share a lead and it's like, oh, they're only hiring in like 15 states. And I share it anyhow just because it's a really good lead. But there are a lot of leads that are only for your state, and you don't want to miss out on those. So it's important to know how to search for those jobs. And if you feel like you haven't been successful in doing that, then I would recommend, getting those skills, which I do teach in my course if that's something that you want to pursue. So number one thing there is, yes, there's tons of administrative opportunities to do from home. Number two, you want to make sure that you are looking for those opportunities. You want to get yourself on a schedule for a job hunt. I always say looking for a job is like a job. So you don't want to look on Monday and then look again on Friday. You might want to do it every single weekday, or maybe Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Whatever you choose to do, just be consistent with it. And then the other part is a question that I've been seeing a lot lately. A lot of times jobs will say, here's the requirements, and then here is what's preferred. Requirements and what's preferred are different. So like if a job says it's required that you have 3 years of administrative experience, it's required that you have your high school diploma, those are things that you absolutely have to have. But if it says preferred, that means the person who applies who has that preferred skill, like a bachelor's degree, they will have a leg up in the competition, but it doesn't necessarily omit you from being able to apply. Sometimes you can make up for those preferences, not requirements, but preferences with experience. So if you don't have a bachelor's degree and that was under preferred, you having 7 years experience in an office setting, working with, multiple departments and doing all sorts of different tasks could definitely give you a leg up as well. So that's the difference between requirements and preferences. You just want to make sure that you hit those requirements all the time. But preferences, it'll sort of just give you an idea of, okay, well, if I don't have my bachelor's degree, who knows? But let me get my application in anyhow. So just stay encouraged, keep applying to jobs, and be strategic about it. So the next question, someone says, are there remote work from home jobs in Africa? If so, can I provide a list? I get asked all the time about jobs in other countries, and I'm really not the expert on work in other countries. I'm in America, and I'm not going to pretend like I'm the jack of all trades. So if I ever come across a company that does hire internationally and it's a good lead, you can bet I'm going to share it. But as far as other countries, I know a lot of times my jobs are really for the US or just North America, like US and Canada. So I can't necessarily give advice on, working in, a country within Africa, because that's a whole continent. But there are companies on my global jobs playlist that may hire in your country. So if you go to my YouTube channel, and I think I can provide the link to my global work from home jobs playlist, you can look through the videos there and see if any of those companies hire in your country. So let's see if I can actually get that link, and I'll post it, but it's on my YouTube channel. So just check that out. I'm going to try and see if I can get that link. Do playlist have a link? Yeah. Okay. I have the link, and I'm going to post it now. So I put it in the chat box, and I don't think it, or let me, Yeah, it doesn't do any good to show it up there. But I put it in the chat box. If it's not clickable, just go to my YouTube channel. And you can do this from your phone if you're on a phone, or from a computer. And you can go to the global jobs playlist and look for a work from home job in your country there. So hopefully your country's there. Someone said, are there companies that offer these? Hold on, let me skim through this. Okay, so this person is asking about starting a YouTube channel, and just go for it. I actually get a lot of questions about starting a YouTube channel, and I know most people want to start one. And I was the same way. I wanted to start a YouTube channel for a really long time before I ever actually did it. It's just one of those things where you just have to go for it. I am not an outgoing, in your face kind of person, which I know a lot of people are like, yeah, but if you're on the internet, then you kind of have to be. But no, that's not true. I'm actually not, that person. I'll talk to y'all about work from home, but I'm not the life of the party. So don't let that be a deterrent if you do want to start a YouTube channel. You really just want to make sure that whatever you start your channel about, you can stick with, because it takes a long time sometimes for your channel to grow. Everybody doesn't get to get 100,000 subscribers, or all the big number of subscribers really quickly. Sometimes it takes years and years and years of just posting consistently. So that's my best advice. Just do it. Your first videos are going to be terrible. Even if you are on video 300 or 400, those still might be terrible. But you just kind of have to get over how people might feel. Like, I've made over 483 videos, and sometimes I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that one. But you just post and you just do it. So that's the best advice. Okay. Next question. Wow, I thought I was going to go through these quicker. Let me speed it up. This question says, it's not a question, but thank you. And then this person, okay, this is one of the last ones before I'll just start going to the comment questions. So thank you guys for your patience. Someone said, okay, so that was another college question. So I already answered that. Okay, so I got through the questions pretty much that I feel like I need to address in the submitted questions. So now I'll go to the chat box and answer any questions that you guys have. So just go ahead and put your question in there. I don't know if it's lagging or if y'all just don't have any questions. Maybe I'll go back up. But you can type your question in the chat box and I'll do my best to answer it now. Okay, so let me just go back up. Okay, all right, I see them now. Okay, I'll just start right here. So for someone looking for an entry level into tech, what do you think about transitioning into remote work with a diverse level of work experience and a degree? Well, it depends on what tech field you're in. There's a lot of tech work from home jobs. So it just depends. But can you make that transition? Absolutely. For people who are transitioning, it's not so much about do you have the job skills to get hired? Getting hired online in the remote world and getting hired in a traditional job have so many similarities. If anything, the advice that I would give for someone transitioning to remote work versus in an office is more about the structure that you create for yourself while working from home. So, one of the things that just sends people right on back to the traditional work world in a heartbeat is they don't have any sort of structure to their work style from home. And when you think about it, like home is where everything that we love is. So it's the couch, it's the TV, there's the video game. If you got kids, there's kids running around, the dog's barking. If you're married, your spouse, might also be working from home too. And there's just a lot of temptation there. And I talk about which course is that? Oh, I haven't released that course yet, but I have new courses coming very soon because this is something that I don't see very talked about very often or often at all, but basically just creating that structure for yourself because it's not about being able to work from home for the month or the week or whatever. It's about making this long term. And I've seen so many people talk about they just want to go back to an office because they miss people. They miss sort of having like that routine and the structure of working in a office environment. And you have to create all of that at home. So the transition for you to go into a tech field at home, it really the battle isn't really going to be about like, can I do this work or is there work out there? Yes and yes, you can. There's plenty of work. The battle will really be about, are you used to being around people? And even if you're not like a people person, are you able to be strict with your routine to make working from home a long-term thing for you? What types of jobs do you recommend that are non-phone? I'm currently in call center work and the customers are slowly killing me. I'm sorry. You have over 10 years as a CSR and admin. So for non-phone jobs, what I've seen the majority of non-phone jobs being in are like one of them is being a tutor. So I was a tutor, that was a non-phone job. Another one, if you are some sort of coordinator, you mentioned that you have administrative work, experience. So a lot of coordinator type positions, those tend to not be very heavy phone use. You might use the phone a little bit, like I was saying earlier, but you don't really have to worry about taking back-to-back calls like in a call center. Technical jobs, doing tech support for companies. A lot of times I'll see those will be email and chat based. Um, Outside of YouTube, I have my own clients that basically I hire for. So like one of my clients, they have a support desk where it's just email only. And I've seen that with Zendesk. I've seen that with, what's the other one? Zapier. And those are all like technical type companies. Um, what's the other one? It's not coming to me right now, but just think tech field. A lot of technical type opportunities don't require you to be on the phone, but you are going to be at your computer working a lot because it's the tech industry. So those some in the healthcare industry, but again, that would be more around the like lines of a coordinator or an administrative type role. And yeah, I saw a couple of very unique opportunities to do like at home security. If y'all remember that one that I posted about a month or so ago, basically you would just be watching cameras that are set up in places of employment, basically doing at-home loss prevention. I've only seen that type of lead like one time, and that company is somewhere in like the last few weeks on my channel, so you might want to check them out. Okay. Scrolling down here. Okay, I answered that one. Do I have any leads on fashion tech remote jobs? I've posted a couple of fashion companies. They were looking for customer service reps for the leads that I shared. But if you're looking to do like technical type work for those companies, I would just sort of find different fashion companies or, clothing companies and see, what do they have on their careers pages. So maybe you might just want to start with like, hey, I like wearing Fashion Nova. Let's see if Fashion Nova is hiring any sort of technical positions. So it would really just be about, searching for those fashion companies and then looking at their career pages. Email only positions that pay 17 plus. Email and chat, and it basically goes for the same with the previous question that I answered. It would really be mostly like technical type jobs, or there was one where it was like a game show. I think it was Game Show Network. Early this year, they had a customer service chat job. Now, for those jobs, they exist, okay? They're out there, but they go so fast. And especially if they don't require any additional education past like a high school diploma, and they're going to be paying that much money, they're going to go really, really quickly. So I might not even get to share those, which is why, going back to, what I've basically been saying, it's so important to have, a routine on how to look for these jobs and doing it, because you will probably come across 10 of those jobs before I even come across one. If you're, really on the job search like that. So I have seen some, but those are few and far between that I'm able to share on my channel. Oh, would it be possible to find more remote leads for California? I know California gets left out a lot. And the way that I kind of make my decision on what jobs to share is, first and foremost, when I look at the company. So just to kind of give you guys sort of a background on how I do it, I have a VA who helps me with finding these jobs so that I can consistently share them with y'all. And she does sort of like the preliminary search, and she'll send them to me daily. And so then I'll go through them and I'll say, no, yeah, that one's okay. And by the time I sort of whittle it down, there's really only like maybe one or two jobs that are worth sharing, in my opinion, just because the company has to be a solid company. If they have terrible reviews, I'm not going to share them, just because I don't want y'all coming back at me saying, oh, you said this was great and it's not. And then I look at, the actual lead itself. Sometimes the job description is just way too much for what they're willing to pay. And sometimes like it's sort of a toss up, like, I'll still share it. Someone might be interested, even though it's not the highest paying. But then after all of that, I have to see like, where are they hiring? And I know it just seems like California is always getting left out, but that really is like, it's really like a law thing, like a labor law thing with California and a few other states. Basically, they want to make it to where everyone can have like somewhat of a livable wage. If I'm correct about this, I've done reading about it in the past, but stuff changes all the time. And for some companies, the taxes too. So being able to do their taxes and comply with all of the stuff that California wants you to comply with on top of the wage stuff, it just makes it to be impossible for some companies to do business there. So long story short, that's why California gets left out a lot. And if a company hires in like 40 states, but California is not mentioned and it meets all of those other things, I'll still share it just because more people can benefit than not. So basically, my same advice: look for jobs, as well, because it really will take applying to way more jobs than I can share on my channel to be able to get hired sooner rather than later. I always say it's like a numbers game. The more applications that you have out there and the more companies that you have a chance at getting hired with, the more likely and quicker it is to get hired. If you're only applying to like one job a week, that could, you could get be lucky and get hired right away, but it's better to have more applications out there than not. So you would just want to make sure that you're looking. And there's a lot of companies that hire just for California. Like the tutoring company that I worked with, they were based in Santa Monica, and I am in Atlanta. So, there's companies. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question. Yes, you'll be able to rewatch it. The longer I'm on here, I think the longer it'll take to render, but it should be ready by the morning, or it might be ready right away. But sometimes it takes a minute for it to show up on my end as being a replay, but I'll put it back up. Have I worked any of these jobs? No, I haven't. I worked as an online tutor. And then after, or not after, while being an online tutor, that's when I started my HR business. So I don't just show or share jobs on YouTube. I actually have clients, and most of them are tech companies. They're like startups. You most likely have not heard of them. And I do like hiring and management for their company. So that's what I do when I'm not on YouTube. So my day starts pretty early and it tends to end kind of late, but I really enjoy what I do. And that's how I even got started on YouTube, because I just sort of knew about all these online jobs, and people would ask me like, hey, you were an online tutor and I know you're doing the other stuff, but how can I work from home? So I started, just telling them about it. And then I knew of other channels that had shared work from home jobs too. And I was like, hey, this seems to be something people like, and I'm in this remote world. So I started sharing these jobs, but no, I haven't done most of these jobs. I don't think it would be possible to go through the hiring process for all of these. Most of the jobs that I've done, I've worked at for a long time until it was ready to transition to something else. Let's see. T-Tech seems hard to get into. They're hiring. They needed 4,500 plus people. And as long as you meet those minimum qualifications and you apply, then you should be getting a call back, because they have so many open positions. So I would just go for it if you haven't already. Someone said, sometimes I feel as though I need to dumb myself down to get one of those jobs. It's not your fault. It's just unfortunate. Do you mean you're overqualified? like I mentioned, the jobs that I share on my channel, they're like YouTube friendly jobs where just about anybody could do them. But if you have a lot of experience, Lynn, then you would want to apply to jobs that match your experience. Unless you don't really want to um, do that. But if you feel like you have to dumb yourself down, then go for a higher level position. Don't go for the entry level, go for the mid level or the, senior level role. Yeah, New York gets left out too a lot, unfortunately. Okay. Okay. Where am I? Recruiting from home. I see that on just about every career page I've been going to lately. So you just want to search and see like work from home recruiting opportunities. I'm not sure what was posted at 8:46. I'm 58 and disabled. I have had 2 jobs in my life after 20, one for 30 years and one for 8. The last one I lost due to the pandemic. I need a part-time job. They seem harder to find remotely. Ready to give up. Well, I'm sorry to hear about you losing your job, but it sounds like you have a lot of experience. You're at a company for 30 years, which is literally unheard of these days. And then another one for 8, which is also, not so common these days. Um, what I would recommend is making sure that you are staying up on that job search. So, what I mean by that is like channels like mine are a resource. It's sort of like, hey, if you didn't find anything today, here's a lead that might help. But it by no means is meant to be a replacement for an actual job search. So you want to go to, and I can actually share a video that I made not too long ago, because I do realize that even though I go very deep into this topic in my courses, some people just might not be able to get that right now. So I have a video, and let me find it. I forgot what it's called. I think it's called, yeah, okay, this one. So it's on my channel. I made it last year, and it has a few different websites. And I share with you how I look for jobs on those few different websites. Let me make sure that's the one. I'm going to skim through it really quickly. Come on, internet. I think this is it. And then I also like give a little bit more in depth on how to use the mega list of jobs. But basically, to answer your question, it really is just about making sure you stay on top of your online job search. You're looking daily, you're applying daily. You can take the weekend off, or I'll do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Or if the weekends are the only time you get free time, make sure you're looking on the weekends and applying for jobs. So that's the key there. So that's the link to that video. It's called, if you're just searching on my YouTube channel, it's called 3 high pay work from home job websites. I talk about LinkedIn. I talk about the mega list of jobs that has over 600 companies on it. And then I talk about another website. But in my courses, I talk about, I think, 15 different websites, and I get really in depth with like keyword search for the types of jobs that you're looking for. So the links to my courses, you can always find them in the description box of literally every video I post. All right. And being disabled, those companies that have the EEO statement, if you read through their statement, it says that they cannot legally discriminate against you for being disabled. And depending on what your disability is, you may not even need to disclose it unless you need a work accommodation. And you'll also see that many companies right below that EEO statement will give you a email and or a phone number if you need an accommodation for filling out the application due to some type of disability. So I wouldn't let that, deter you at all. So, yeah. Someone says they want to get into HR, but they're 2 classes away from their bachelor's, and it's hard paying out of pocket for classes. What tips do you have for me getting my foot in the door without a degree? Well, first, get your degree, because a lot of people don't realize this, but like, let's say you have a degree in, I don't know, I'll just use myself, for example. My degree is in public relations, and I have a minor in public policy. I don't have a marketing degree, but that was the first professional job that I got hired for. Public relations and marketing does have a lot of overlap, but the key is when you have a degree, it allows you to get into certain rooms that if you didn't have a degree, you could not get into. And if you've got skills that would, relate to the job that you're looking to do, that, in my case, it was marketing, I was able to play up those skills from my PR degree for that marketing position. Now, in my marketing position, it was traditional marketing, sort of with a twist. A lot of what I did was hire companies. So, to just give you a brief description of what I was doing as a marketing rep for an insurance company, the company was sort of like it was more exclusive than most of the companies that you hear about. You'll never see commercials for this company. You'll never hear about them if you are not really in the insurance industry. They're sort of marketed as like the premier commercial insurance company. And companies like independent insurance agents, they would only be given the opportunity to have a contract with our company if they met a bunch of requirements, and they had to be doing a lot of business. And most of the independent insurance agents that I worked with, these were huge agencies. And I would be meeting like with the owner who's like a multimillionaire off of insurance. So my experience working with hiring and firing agents or insurance companies was what helped me have the entry level experience to start doing HR, if that makes sense. So instead of me just hiring one person, I was actually used to hiring an entire company. And I also would have to fire companies if they weren't writing enough business with us. And I would have to manage that portfolio of agents in that business, which was in like the multi-millions, because workers' comp can start to get really expensive. So they were writing really huge policies. And I kind of had to also play the role of like, hey, let's nurture this relationship. So I'd fly out to go see them and, all sorts of stuff like that. So to go back to your question, how do you get into HR? Well, first I would finish your degree because you're only 2 classes away. And then I would, just me, because this might not be the strategy that you would do, I would start working in my field And then if there was ever an opportunity to sit in on interviews or to train somebody new in the company, I would take that opportunity. And that's how you'll see people in one area sort of transition to the administrative or human resource side of things. Like, same thing with my husband. He works in science, he's a scientist. He was given the opportunity to work or to like sit in on interviews for new people to bring in. And that was what helped him sort of get more towards the admin side, where you're part of that hiring and firing process. So that's just what I would do. You're so close. You want to start making money probably sooner rather than later. So that's also an upside to just going ahead and finishing. And if you decide you want to go back and get a degree, you can always do that. Always. I've been on here for, I don't know, it's been a while. I know it's like almost 10:30. Okay, so I'm just gonna answer 3 more questions really quickly, just because it's bedtime. Yeah, I go to bed really early. Do you know any bilingual Spanish and English or even Portuguese positions? I see bilingual English, Spanish all the time. Just about every company that I share, maybe 8 times out of 10, they'll also have a bilingual version of that position. So bilingual Spanish, English, I'll even see that be like, and it's a plus if you're bilingual, and we'll give you like a higher hourly rate if you are bilingual. Like with the T-Tech leads, they were paying more. Was that T-Tech or was that, I think it was T-Tech. Who was it? Breathe Easy Insurance too. I may be thinking about them. I know they pay at least $1 more per hour if you are bilingual Spanish English. But just about every position has that as a plus, or they also have a bilingual version of it. So I would just check their career website. That's a very good skill to have. Shelly said, looks like I'm taking a course. Any international job opportunities? I answered this one a little while ago. I have a global jobs playlist on my YouTube channel. I would check that out. I can't guarantee that they do have something in your area, but it is worth looking through that global jobs playlist. It's been so difficult to find truly remote opportunities. It was actually easier pre-pandemic, believe it or not. I would see a whole lot more global opportunities before the pandemic hit. But then once the pandemic hit, it was so hard to find any of those. And I'm not sure what changed, but that's just kind of the state that we're in. And same thing with part-time. I know everybody wants to do something part-time. I posted 2 part-time jobs last week, and then I posted one, I think it was either yesterday or the day before. But part-time has also been sort of few and far between, at least when I look. So there's probably a whole lot more part-time opportunities and global opportunities that I don't see. And, just be on the lookout for those. I think that was 2 questions, so I'll answer one more. Okay, so someone said, if you're applying daily, how long does it usually take to get hired? So the answer to that question is loaded because there's so many factors. But what I will say is you are on the right track because you are applying to jobs daily. And the more jobs that you apply to, I think about it like, if you were to put your name in a hat. So if you were to put your name in a hat, 10 times and you reach in the hat and you pull your name out or you pull a name out, you have 10 times more opportunity to get your name pulled out the hat. Well, if you are only applying one time, then you get that, you get, okay, there might be one time. So you're on the right track by applying to as many jobs as they are a good fit for you. Now, as far as how long will it take, it really also depends on how strategic you're being. So if you are applying to jobs that say you need 5 years of experience and you have only 2 years of experience, you know, you're going to be applying for a very long time, okay, because you don't meet those minimum qualifications. So that's what I mean by being strategic. Are you applying to jobs that you're qualified for, that are a good fit? Are you applying, as often as you can? If that's the case, then you will get hired a lot sooner rather than later. But I can't tell you like, oh, it's only going to take 2 months. I don't know that. I can't tell you that. But in my experience, when I started applying to online jobs, I started, I can't tell you when exactly I started because I was applying to a mix of like traditional jobs and online jobs. This was like back in 2015 or 2016, one of those years. But the job that I did end up doing, I remember I applied like at the beginning of the week. By the end of the week, I was interviewing. And then like the next day, I had an offer. So the whole process for me only took 7 days with that particular job. But I wasn't really in the hiring process for a long time, even with all those traditional setting jobs and online jobs, just because I was being strategic. So that's the key. Be strategic and apply as often as it's a good fit. And it does take time to vet those companies. So you always want to research a company before you apply. That can save you so much time because there's nothing worse than getting into a new job thinking it's going to be everything and amazing. And then it turns out to be just the worst thing ever. And guess what? You're going to be back on the job search. So take that 5 minutes, that 10 minutes to Google search a company, to go on Glassdoor, to check out their website and all that good stuff, and see if what you see seems to be a good fit. And sometimes, even with doing all of that, you might get into an opportunity where it's like, this just isn't for me. But at least you are in the habit of doing that, and it'll cut down your chances on getting into something that you just don't want to be in. So you are on the right track. You definitely are. Okay, so that is perfect timing. It is almost 10:30. Thank you everybody who came. If I did not answer your question, I apologize, but I think if you replay this once it's up, whatever question you have, there's probably something from the other questions you can take to answer it. It really just boils down to being strategic, applying to jobs as often as you can. And if you don't know how to do that, again, I have courses all about that. And I will be doing a live webinar, God willing, in like the next 2 weeks. But don't hold me to that just because things have been very busy. Um, yeah, but I'll try to get on live again, hopefully. So thank you, everybody. All right. I will be back in the morning with another hot work from home opportunity. So I appreciate you guys always tuning in. Like you have no idea. I always appreciate it so much. So thank you and good night.